iOS 18.1 rolled out the first set of Apple Intelligence features, mostly setting the table with the basics like summarization, writing tools, and image cleanup. This second round of features in iOS 18.2, expected to be released in December, rolls out the most hotly anticipated features: Image Playground, Genmoji, Visual Intelligence, ChatGPT integration, and so much more. Let me show you how it works. Let's start with Image Playground, which lets you generate AI images from scratch. You'll find this app on your home screen after you update to 18.2. You can just tap the plus button on the bottom to generate a new image. You can also access this in Messages inside the app menu. Image Playground gives you 4 ways to generate an image. You can tap Describe an image and then type in whatever you want, and Image Playground will generate one based on your description. Tap the Choose Person button in the bottom right to pick a photo of somebody you know. This draws from the People and Pets section of the Photos app, so make sure you have all the faces tagged with names for this feature to work best. You can also tap Appearance and tap Edit to generate a new person from scratch. You can also tap the plus icon in the very bottom right, then tap Choose Photo to pick any picture out of your photo library to use as a starting point. Here you can also switch between 2 different visual styles, animation and illustration. Finally, you can tap any of the suggestion bubbles at the bottom of the screen. After you have a starting image, Image Playground will instantly start generating options 4 at a time, and you can keep swiping over to keep making it generate more. You can tap on any of Apple's tags on the bottom of the screen to add additional elements to your image, or you can type in something using the text box. Tap on any of these floating bubbles to remove them from the image. When you're finished, tap Done in the upper right to save the image. You can share it, you can delete it, or you can go back and edit it at any point in the future. And because this is still a beta feature, you can tap the thumbs up or thumbs down to send feedback to Apple. Personally, I'm not impressed by Image Playground. The images that it makes are frankly terrible. Compared to the state-of-the-art with Midjourney, it's clearly years behind. The images are really low resolution, it struggles to draw a lot of straight lines, some parts of an image weirdly blend together and other parts are duplicated. It's a neat party trick that it can all run on device, so there are no limits to how many images you can create, but free unlimited garbage isn't an enticing offer. Also, Apple needs to add more safeguards to this feature. The fact that you can generate an image based on anything in your photo library, and by extension, anything you can find on the internet, means you don't need to learn any complicated prompt injection. It's all too easy to generate an image of a historical German fascist dictator standing on the front lawn of the White House. Or if I were a mean-spirited middle schooler, I could use it to generate embarrassing images of a classmate for bullying and harassment. I don't think Apple should ship Image Playground because it's going to be a never-ending battle of stamping out fires as people figure out how to use it in unseemly ways, and for very little benefit. Even the best images just don't look that good. Moving right along, a similar but related feature is called Image Wand. This is basically Image Playground, but integrated into apps like Notes, Pages, Keynote, and more. To use Image Wand in Notes, you tap the paperclip icon and tap Create Image. It'll use the context of the notes around it to generate it. And just like Image Playground, you can add additional prompts by typing in the text box, remove them by tapping on the floating bubbles, tap Done to save it, or Cancel to delete it. If you have a rough drawing or sketch in your note already, you can convert it into an AI image. Tap the pen icon on the bottom, then tap the Image Wand tool. Circle the part of the image you want to use as input, and then give it a description of what you want to see. Image Wand uses a new style by default called Sketch, but you can convert to animation or illustration by tapping the plus icon in the bottom right. It seems to take a broad sort of inspiration from your sketch, but it puts much more weight into your text prompt. And you can test this for yourself by typing in something completely unrelated to your drawing, and it'll just make that instead, which kind of defeats the purpose, in my opinion. I can see some use for this on the iPhone, where at best all you can really do is a rough sort of sketch with your finger, As long as you're okay with the ugly generative art that it makes, that is. But if I had an iPad with an Apple Pencil, I don't think I'd see much use for it. Image Wand doesn't enhance your drawing so much as it paints over it, so it doesn't matter how much detail you add, it'll just ignore it. Now let's talk about something that's actually pretty cool. If you've ever been irritated that there's not the perfect emoji for the conversation you're having, you can create your own using Genmoji. To use it, switch over to the emoji keyboard and tap the new Genmoji button on the right. It's also very cleverly built into the search field. If you type something in and find out there isn't an emoji for it already, tap the Create New Emoji button right there to jump in. Then you can type in a short few words describing what you want, like ostrich or tablet or tissue box. You don't need to jam pack it with a long, complicated prompt. It's already trained on the visual style of Apple emoji. In my testing, it's really great at generating emoji for specific dog breeds. If your dog doesn't look like any of the existing emoji, well, you can create a Bernese Mountain Dog or a Greyhound or a Pit Bull. The same goes for cats too. You can create a Tuxedo Cat or a Calico Cat or a Maine Coon. And the other animals that are underrepresented in regular emoji, like lizards, birds, snakes, and hamsters. It also generates objects as well, and these have mixed results. It either looks absolutely perfect, like exactly what an Apple shovel emoji would look like, or I also tried creating a trombone and it created these horrible abominations, and in one instance, it just straight up made a violin instead. It also works with people too. You can type in a name from your photo library, and you have a few expressions you can give them, like smiling, laughing, frowning. These look okay, but I'll take it over Image Playground any day. A new feature called Visual Intelligence is a way to look things up or get information on things you see out in the real world. It's available exclusively on the iPhone 16. Click and hold on the camera control to open it up, and click it again, or tap one of the on-screen buttons to look something up. Ask will send the picture to ChatGPT. OpenAI's chatbot might be able to explain what you're looking at, and you can even type in follow-up questions for more information. I pointed it at a few odd things sitting around my office, and I was genuinely impressed by what it got right, but of course I caught a few mistakes. Bear in mind that you can't entirely trust ChatGPT as a sole source of information. You should always double-check the facts when it's something important. Search uses a Google reverse image search to try and identify the object, which can come in handy if you want to figure out where you can buy a product online. Visual Intelligence has other features that are a little more context dependent. If you point the camera at a document or a poster that has event information on it, you can quickly add that event to your calendar. If it's a music festival or a concert or something that's known on the internet, it might add additional details in as well. My testing for this has been a little spotty, but it could be super useful down the road. If you take a picture of a building, Visual Intelligence will reference your location with Apple Maps data to look up the restaurant or business you're looking at. You can instantly see hours, reviews, a website, bring up a menu, and more. If you're trying to decide where to eat, this could be a really handy way to quickly get information rather than manually typing in every name you see. Technically speaking, none of these features are super smart. ChatGPT and Google Reverse Image Search are both third-party services. Pulling information out of the camera, like events, phone numbers, websites, is based on live text, a feature the iPhone has had for years. And Visual Intelligence doesn't actually use a lot of AI to identify a business. It's mostly just using Apple Maps GPS and compass information, which any iPhone is capable of. Now, in practice, these are still practical features. I just think that without Apple Intelligence being a big marketing and branding push, Apple would be a little more upfront about this being a convenient repackaging of existing features rather than a new AI technology. Of course, there's more ChatGPT in iOS 18.2. It's now seamlessly integrated into Siri. If you ask Siri a broad world knowledge question, instead of showing you Google search results, it'll ask you if you want to ask ChatGPT. Tap Ask, and it'll pass your question along. You can also ask Siri questions about what you're looking at. If you ask, "What's this?" while you're looking at a photo, reading an article, browsing the web, or watching a video, it'll take a screenshot and ask for your permission to send it along to ChatGPT. It'll analyze it and give you back an explanation. Apple will remind you that mistakes can occur, verify details, but it could provide at least an introductory explanation. If you don't want to be asked permission every time, you can turn this off in Settings, Apple Intelligence and Siri, ChatGPT, by disabling Confirm ChatGPT requests. Anyone will be able to use ChatGPT for free with no account with a limited amount of daily usage. If you have a ChatGPT account and you want greater access, you can tap Sign In. You can also upgrade to ChatGPT Plus directly from this page for $19.99 a month. The system writing tools for proofreading, rewriting, and formatting text in iOS 18.1 have 2 additional features in 18.2. The existing writing tools are all about proofreading or editing existing text, but there's a new Compose button at the bottom that lets you create text from scratch based on a prompt. Powered by ChatGPT 4o, there's a drop-down menu where you can select how much context to give it, whether you want to share the existing document as part of the prompt. You can also tap the plus to upload a photo or a document as an additional prompt. Composing with ChatGPT might take a moment because this is a third-party service that can't run locally on your device. But ChatGPT is widely considered to be the best in class for writing text. You'll see a text box where you can describe your change if you want something unique. You can ask writing tools to make significant changes to a block of text in some weird and wonderful ways. You can try things like make it sound Shakespearean or make everything opposite, which usually has pretty hilarious results. You can also ask for very specific directions like make every verb italicized or make everything title case, both of which genuinely impressed me with their accuracy. Finally, this latest beta includes the first new Siri and Apple Intelligence features available to third-party apps. Siri will be able to see the contents of your screen, so you might be able to ask it context-sensitive questions like, what should I title this presentation? What else can I add to this email? Or what's this website I'm looking at? This is an important step towards the new Siri, but it's mostly a behind-the-scenes change. It's highly dependent on whether apps are updated to use it in the first place. And at this stage in the beta testing process, not even all of Apple's own apps have been updated yet. But that is the second round of Apple Intelligence features. Remember to like and subscribe for more updates. I'm Griffin Jones with Cult of Mac.